televised high school academic quiz competition in all of Southwest Florida. Tonight's special one-hour edition of the A-Team Challenge will be on in place of the Pretender. It will be back on at its regular time next week. This is our 11th year, by the way, of doing this program in cooperation with the Foundation for Lee County Public Schools. And after starting this single elimination tournament with 24 Southwest Florida area high schools, we are down to just 2. Clewiston in the finals for the first time ever, and Estero High School also competing for the championship for the very first time. The rules of tonight's game are simple. Same as always. Correct answers to questions in the first round are worth 5 points. Second round, 10 points. Third round, 20 points. The fourth round tonight is called Final Exam. That's when teams can risk up to 100 points, and that is the only round in which teams would be penalized for a wrong answer. We will meet the players and take you on a visit to each school a little bit later in the special one-hour championship A-Team Challenge match. But now, it's time to play. So put your hands on your beepers and your buzzers. It's the 5-point round, the first of 2 5-point rounds. And here we go. Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote a series about a real swinger. Who? Clewiston and Ellen.
Tarzan?
Tarzan is correct. Clewiston draws first blood in the championship game. 5-0. What part of the body between the pharynx and the stomach passes food? Estero and Laurie.
Esophagus?
The esophagus is correct for 5 points also. We're tied. Here's a math question. We've provided you with pencil and paper, and we'll give you a couple of extra seconds, as always. If Sharon has $20 in the bank, and if she writes checks for $3, $6, and $8, and she makes one deposit of $12, what is her new balance? Estero and Chris.
$15.
$15 is correct. 5 more points for Estero High School. If I had a geocentric view of the universe, what would I view? Estero and Laurie.
That everything revolves around the Earth?
Judges? That's correct. We would view Earth as the center of the universe. 5 more for Estero. They're in front 15-5. Singing with frequent changes from the ordinary voice to falsetto and back again is characteristic of Swiss and Austrian mountaineers. Estero and Laurie.
Yodeling?
That type of singing is called yodeling. Would you like to give us an example of that, Laurie? You'll pass. Okay,
no,
understandable. 5 more points for Estero. All of the following engines are internal combustion engines except gasoline, diesel, steam, or jet. Estero and Chris.
Steam.
Steam is correct. 5 more points for Estero. Microbe is a general name for microscopic organisms that cause fermentation or disease. One of the most effective ways of killing microbes in liquids is A, freezing, B, boiling. Estero and Chris.
Boiling.
Boiling is correct. The other choice is drying and sealing. Put 5 more points on the board for Chris and Estero. The capital of Wyoming is Cheyenne. How do you spell Cheyenne? Clewiston and Ellen.
Cheyenne.
That is correct for 5 points for Clewiston. How do you spell guardian? Laurie from Estero, you were first.
Guardian.
And that is correct for 5 points for Estero. What is placed at one end of an arrow for stability and direction control? Clewiston and Bill.
Feathers.
Feathers is correct. That's 5 points for Clewiston. To find the location of an earthquake epicenter, its distance from at least how many points must be known? Clewiston and Tim.
3.
3 is correct. 5 more points for Clewiston. We got a tight match going here in the 5-point round. Sleeping Beauty would have felt right at home in what sleepy Catskill area that appears in the title of a famous Washington Irving work? Estero and Chris.
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow is correct. Have we had an incorrect answer yet? I don't think so. How many holes are played in the U.S. Masters Golf Tournament? Clewiston and Bill.
54.
That is incorrect. Shouldn't have said that. That's incorrect. Estero? And Nick?
72.
72 is correct. 4 rounds of 18 on Thursday through Sunday. For 5 points, between which 2 continents is the Drake Passage located? This strait is between Cape Horn and the South Shetland Islands. Repeat it. I will repeat it, and we'll clear the clock. Between which 2 continents is the Drake Passage located? The strait is between Cape Horn and the South Shetland Islands. Clewiston and Ellen.
Antarctica and Africa?
That is incorrect. We will now give Estero a shot at it, in fairness. And Laurie.
Antarctica and South America?
That is correct for 5 points for Estero. It consists of Horseshoe Falls and the American Falls. Estero and Nick.
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls is right. 5 more for Estero. How do you spell alfalfa? Clewiston and Bill.
A-L-F-A-L-F-A.
And that is correct. Alfalfa gets you 5 points there, Clewiston. A dog is generally considered to have aged as much in 1 year as a human ages in how many years? Lori from Estero.
7 years?
7 is right for 5. Which of these European countries is farthest north? The Netherlands, Austria, Switzerland, or Germany? Clewiston and Derek.
The Netherlands?
That is incorrect. Sorry. Estero? Lori.
Germany?
Germany's correct for 5 points for Estero. That sound signifies the end of what tonight will be the first of 2 5-point rounds. Estero's in the lead 65-25. We've got a long way to go, though, in the special 1-hour edition of the A-Team Challenge. Thank you for watching us tonight. We're going to meet our players and visit the schools. We'll start with Clewiston, and we'll do it right after the break. And welcome back to this prime time edition of the A-Team Challenge. It's the championship match between Clewiston and Estero. As promised, we're going to meet the players and take you out to their schools. Let's start with the team from Clewiston High School. They've been here several times this year. We'd like to congratulate you first off for making the finals. And let's start with Ellen Hu. Ellen, tell us a little bit about yourself, your age, your year, and what you plan to do with your life.
I'm 16. I'm a senior at Clewiston High School, and I'm planning to go to UF after graduation.
All right. Good luck to you. Bill Fabian, same for you.
I'm 18. I'm a senior at Clewiston, and I plan to go to UFSU.
All right. Good luck to you. Derek Abreu. Derek?
I'm a junior, and I'm 17. I'm not sure where I'd like to go to school, but I'm looking.
All right. And Tim Watson.
I'm 18, a senior at Clewiston High School, and I plan to go to Mississippi State University.
All right. Good luck to all of you. One of the best things about hosting this program is when we get to the finals, we get to go out to the schools, meet the players and the coaches, and get up close and personal. We'll start with our visit a couple of days ago to Clewiston High School. Sugar country, and Clewiston High School sits in its shadows as the cane is chugged along on its way to the processing plants. Football. Friday nights during the late summer and fall pretty much define what Clewiston High School has been all about. Until now, after years of competing in the A-Team Challenge, the team from Clewiston is in the big show.
They're all avid readers. They're all excellent students. They have a yen for knowledge.
Johanna Huss is the team's coach. She's had a secret weapon this year.
By the time you get around to practice in the afternoon, teenagers are hungry, so I feed them a lot.
And that seemed to work, huh?
They told me they will win for food.
Ellen's the team captain. She knows the reality of what makes the school tick and doesn't have a problem with it. But as for the academic spotlight, she says the time is now.
Most of the time when a television crew comes to the school, it's usually football this, football that, and football everywhere. You know, during our football season, that's the only thing we talk about, you know. And we have a really good football team, but this is the first time that the academic team has had the opportunity to be shown on TV for everybody to see, and we're really proud of that.
Team member Bill Fabian is a young man of which to be proud. Not only does he excel academically and musically, but also...
A couple of years ago, my dad had a couple of strokes, and he used to be a doctor, and then he couldn't work anymore, so it kind of shifted my high school life a little bit. I had to get a job and support the family a little bit, take more responsibility, helping with my dad and everything, and a little bit of emotional distress sometimes, but it's been a great experience for me long term, and it's really helped me out in my life.
They beat Gulf Coast High School in the quarterfinals, North Fort Myers in the semis. Now these sons and daughters of doctors, nurses, chemists, and drivers are representing Sugar Country in a competition far different from that which has been traditionally played out on the Clewiston gridiron. The challenge is a different one. Beat Estero High School and take home the A-Team Challenge Championship Trophy. Tell you what, when that music was playing in that little vignette, it looked like a 70s discotheque in here with everybody doing their John Travolta impersonations. It is time now to finish the 5-point round here in the 8-team challenge championship game. Clewiston, that you just saw, versus Estero. Hands on buzzers, here we go. We'll start out with a math question, and we'll put it on the screen for our players here in the studio audience and for our viewers at home. Identify the slope and y-intercept of 4x plus 3y equals 6, and we will give you a few extra seconds, as mentioned on the math questions. Clewiston and Ellen.
Slope is negative 4/3 and y-intercept is 2.
That is correct. 10 points for Clewiston. Slope, negative 4/3. The y-intercept is 2. Still in the 5-point round. What country did the ancestors of Presidents Andrew Jackson, James Polk, and William McKinley come from? Clewiston and Bill.
England.
That is incorrect. Sorry. Estero, for you, for 5 points. And Laurie.
Germany?
Scotland, the answer we needed, Scotland. Water, pebbles, sand, and finely ground lime and clay. What results from mixing these ingredients in definite proportions? Estero and Nick.
Cement.
Judges? We'll take it. Concrete specifically, but we'll take cement. Good for 5 points for Estero. What is an Italian baby called? Clewiston and Derek.
Bambino?
That's right. Bambino is good for 5 points. What is the optimum number of points you can attain in blackjack before you go bust? Nick, Estero.
21.
How'd you know that, Nick? That's correct for 5 points for Estero. 4 seas are named for colors. List any 3 of them. Once again, Nick from Estero.
North, red, and yellow seas.
That is incorrect. Clewiston and Derek.
The White Sea, the Black Sea, and the Red Sea?
Or the Yellow Sea, we would have taken 3 out of any 4, and that's good for 5 points for Clewiston. Last time we checked, we didn't know of a color named North, but there are many of them on the electromagnetic spectrum, so who knows? For 5 points, in what Italian town did the architect Bonanno use an inadequate foundation for a tower? Estero and Laurie.
Pisa?
Pisa, that he constructed in 1174. Pisa is right. 5 more for Estero. A tool consisting of a plate of flat metal fitted to a short handle for spreading plaster or concrete is called what, Derek? Clewiston.
A trowel?
A trowel is right. 5 points for Clewiston. How many justices sit on the Supreme Court of the United States? We'll go over to Ellen, Clewiston.
9.
9 is correct for 5 points. Which revolution came first? The Russian, the American, or the French? Estero and Laurie.
The American?
That is right. We're zipping along. 5 more points for Estero. What is the number of neutrons possessed by an atom of an element whose atomic number is 6 and mass number is 14? Clewiston and Ellen.
8.
8 would be correct for 5 points. Here's a math question. Factor 16c squared minus 49d squared. Clewiston and Ellen.
4c minus 7d times 4c plus 7d?
That is incorrect. Sorry, we'll give Estero a shot. I will repeat. Factor 16c squared minus 49d squared. And Laurie.
4c minus 7d plus 4c plus 7d.
That sounds a lot like my son, who's 2 when he's trying to talk. No, what we needed was 4c plus 7d times 4c minus 7d. Ellen had her pluses and her minuses mixed up. Are we good with that, judges? Or should we have ruled it correctly the first time? We should have ruled it correctly the first time. Did not have to be in that order. All right? No harm done. People in the control room, we will put 5 points on the board for Clewiston High School. All right, moving on. 5-point round is now over. We'll get to the 10-point round. We'll meet our players from Estero, and we'll take you on a little trip there also when we come back. See you in a minute. And welcome back. The score is 80-60, Estero over Clewiston. We made an adjustment. The judges reversed their decision on a question in which the specific answer we needed was concrete. Estero gave cement. It was originally accepted. The judges have reversed that, so we took 5 points off of Estero. We're going to move into the 10-point round, language, arts, science, social studies, and math. The 4 categories, as always, in the 18 challenge. So let's clear it all. Put your hands on buzzers and beepers, and here we go. For 10 points, while Britain was preoccupied with the war, the 1916 Easter Rebellion broke out where? Estero and Nick.
Ireland.
Ireland is correct. 10 points now for Estero. 10 points. Identify the author and the title of the short story in which we meet a cook, an oiler, a correspondent, an injured captain, the ocean, and a small boat. The Open Boat by Stephen Crane is what we needed. The Open Boat. For 10 points, from what island was tobacco first exported? It can get quiet, and here can it. Trinidad is the answer that we needed. Trinidad. Still for 10, its chemical formula is C20H29OH. It's found in fish liver oils, eggs, and carrots, among other foods. And this vitamin is thought to be especially important. Estero and Chris.
Beta-carotene?
Judges? Quickly, please. Incorrect. We'll finish it now for Clewiston. Let me start it over for you. Its chemical formula is C20H29OH. It's found in fish liver oils, eggs, and carrots, among other foods, and this vitamin is thought to be especially important to the health of the eye. What is it? This would be for Clewiston only. And Bill.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin A is the answer that we needed. Here's the math question. Again, paper and pencil provided. A paper carrier, counting the money he collected, noted that he had 105 coins, 84 of which were pennies. What percentage of the coins were not pennies? And this will be for 10 points. The answer we needed was 20%. Continuing in this round now. What style of jazz singing did Louis Armstrong popularize? Derek in Clewiston. Scat, scat is correct for 10 points for Clewiston. There's a poem entitled From My Armchair. The wood of this chair came from a tree mentioned in another of the same author's poems. What kind of wood was it? It might help you if I identify the poet as Longfellow. Clewiston and Ellen.
Oak.
Oak is incorrect. Sorry, Estero. We'll clear the clock and give you a couple of seconds. And Lori.
Birch.
Chestnut is what we needed. Chestnut. We're still in the 10-point round here. Match the following historical and mythological characters with their wives. Here are the men. Menelaus, Agamemnon, Odysseus, and Hector. The women, Penelope, Andromache, Helen, and Clytemnestra. You had to ask me that, didn't you? Okay, I'll repeat. Match the following historical and mythological characters with their wives. The men are Menelaus, Agamemnon, Odysseus, and Hector. The women are Penelope, Andromache, Helen, and Clytem. Helen and
Okay,
Clewiston.
Menelaus went to Helen, Agamemnon, and Clytem, that hard to pronounce one. Odysseus and Penelope and Hector and Andromache.
It was worth repeating there. That's correct, and that's 10 points for Clewiston. Which continent boasts the lowest annual amount of precipitation? Clewiston and Ellen.
Antarctica.
That is correct. 10 more points for Ellen and Clewiston High School. What state elected the first Japanese-American governor in U.S. history in 1974? Estero. Lori.
Hawaii.
Hawaii. That's correct for 10 points. Kind of like the SATs, I guess it pays to guess, right? Is that what we always learn? That's right, 10 points for Estero. Members of this group of chemical compounds are found in all living cells. They consist of a molecule of sugar, either ribose or deoxyribose, and inorganic phosphate. Clewiston and Ellen.
Nucleic acid.
That is incorrect. I'll finish it for you. Start it over. Start it over for Estero. Members of this group of chemical compounds are found in all living cells. They consist of a molecule of sugar, either ribose or deoxyribose, an inorganic phosphate, and an organic base. ATP is an important one. What is this chemical group? And this would be for Estero only. Nucleotides is the answer that we needed. We're still in the 10-point round here. Here's a math question. We'll put it on the screen for you players and for you folks at home. Simplify the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x squared minus 3x plus 9. A lot of fast and furious scribbling going on here. For 10 points, Clewiston and Ellen.
X minus 3 squared times x plus 3.
That is incorrect. And we'll throw it over to Estero. Clear the clock, give you a couple seconds. Answer we needed, and we'll throw it on the screen for you at home, is x cubed plus 27. We're still going for 10 points here for crack. Who wrote, quote, Okie used to mean you was from Oklahoma. Now it means you're scum, unquote. Estero and Lori.
Faulkner?
Faulkner is incorrect. Apologies. Clewiston, for you only. Who wrote, Okie used to mean you was from Oklahoma, now it means you're scum? Helen?
Twain?
No, John Steinbeck. John Steinbeck. Here's another math question. We will not get to it. That's the end of the second 10-point round, or I should say the first 10-point round here. 1 hour, A-Team Challenge Championship Special. Estero with a slight lead over Clewiston. We'll meet the players from Estero and take you on a trip there when we come back.
Get connected to your community with live, local weather. On air and online with NBC2's First Alert Live Weather Link. NBC2's network of weather stations throughout Southwest Florida can track conditions up to the second. Tune in to NBC2 News or log on to NBC-2.com for real-time neighborhood weather information. First Alert Live Weather Link on NBC2. Brought to you by Files Law Firm.
Northern Trust Bank, this is Anna.
Hi, Anna. It's Larry. I got a couple questions.
Yes, how may I help you?
I'm thinking about making that change in my money market fund to go to tax-exempt.
Well, given your tax bracket...
Attention. For those of you who bank at other banks, that sound you're hearing
Depends on your top
is
income
the sound of a human voice. We apologize if it startled
That
anyone.
dividend was credited to your investment account on the 9th and swept into the money market fund.
Northern Trust Bank, the private bank.
We live in a world where ecology means more than economy. Where birds perch on branches, not wires. We live in a world where the preeminent gift is a reflection of doing things right. Where do you live?
I'm NBC2 Chief Meteorologist Jim Clark, inviting you to attend this pre-hurricane seminar. Join me as I team up with the Division of Emergency Management to get you ready.
Just stop by on Wednesday, April 26th at 7 p.m. at the Radisson Hotel in Marco Island. Get advice from the experts and pick up your free NBC2 Hurricane Survival Guide.
It's never too early to prepare, so before the weather turns for the worse, turn to the storm team you can trust. NBC2, you can truly count on us.
This hurricane seminar is brought to you by Roll Safe Shutters.
And welcome back to the A-Team Challenge Prime Time. A quick reminder, the Pretender will be on again next week at its regular time slot, but you are looking at the championship game for the A-Team 2000 Estero versus Clewiston. Estero with the lead now going into our second 10-point round. They're up 100-90. Let's meet the players from Estero. Let me just quickly ask all of you your ages and your year in school and what you plan on doing with your lives if you have made that decision. Let's start with Lori McManus. Lori?
Well, I'm a senior. I'm 18. Just turned on April 2nd. I got into William & Mary's, a Monroe Scholar. I'll go there, but I don't know what I want to do. I'm not going to be a lawyer.
Sure, you'll make the prudent decision. Helen Fan. Helen?
I'm also a senior, 18. I just recently got accepted to University of Florida. I haven't made a final decision, but I want to major in business.
All right. Good luck, Helen. Nick Ferranti. Nick?
I'm a junior, I'm 17, and I'd like to go to a college in the north and major in finance.
And Chris Colvin. Chris?
I'm a junior, I'm 16. I plan on being a marketing agent.
All right, good luck to you all. As mentioned, one of the fun things about hosting the program, especially when we get down to the finals, is to get out to the schools and meet some of these players and their fellow students and their coaches. A couple of days ago, we went to Estero High School. Estero High School has a couple of things in common with Clewiston High School. The Wildcats A-Team Challenge squad is in tonight's finals for the first time. And Estero has a top-notch football program. Ask student-athlete Nick Ferranti, an A-teamer and a linebacker.
You know, going into the last game of the season undefeated, unfortunately we couldn't pull it out. Fort Myers is a good team. We were a really good team this year.
Yeah, you had a difficult school to play in the playoffs also.
Oh, yeah.
A good football history.
St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah.
Went on to win the state championship, so.
But now the focus is away from the field and onto the classroom. And the A-Team Challenge practices. And 6 special teenagers.
They're wonderful students. They're very bright, very creative, and they're very interested in learning. And the other thing that's interesting about them is that they lead very diverse lives. No one fits into a mold. Each one is an individual.
Why do you enjoy the A-team, Helen?
我可以學好多嘢。我唔中意同人哋傾偈，我唔識。18 is very beneficial. I can talk and communicate and better my skills conversing with people because I'm very shy and very nervous when around new. I know what to say, even if it's small talk.
Laurie McManus is the captain of this year's Estero A-team and a veteran of the competition. But there's much more to her life than just cracking the books.
I guess first on my list would be music, classical music. It's my parents' fault. They raised me on it, and I love it. So I play the piano, and anything to do with music, I'm there. And also, I like cartoons. That's not my parents' fault, but I've also always been doing them. So.
And which cartoons in specific are we talking about?
Oh, well, I draw my own comics, but I guess I started to draw because of Warner Brothers cartoons, like Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, that sort of thing.
Classical music and cartoons. That sort of diversity and knowledge defines Estero's A-team. A little bit about a lot of different things. Now, the school that's known for its athletics, its outstanding faculty, and its art department is on the verge of bringing home its first ever A-team challenge championship. And now that we have sufficiently embarrassed every student involved in the competition tonight, it is time to move on to the balance of the 10-point round with the score Estero 100 and Clewiston 90. So hands on buzzers, here we go. We'll kick off this round with a math question. Find the perimeter of a square which has an area of 49 square feet. Clewiston and Ellen.
28 feet.
28 feet is correct. 10 points on the board for Clewiston High School. Unions frequently exert pressure on employers seeking to destroy their markets by asking members and the public not to patronize the employer. What is this ploy called? Clewiston and Ellen again.
Boycotting?
It's a boycott. That's correct. 10 more for Clewiston. Horses use their tails to brush away flies. But what does a bird's tail do? A, Estero and Lori.
Help it balance when it lands and fly and direct itself.
Judges, quickly, please. Judges are putting their heads together over there. We have 4 of them today. The specific answer we needed was steers, but the judges have given me the thumbs up. Steers, 10 points for Estero High School. Pekingese is the Chinese breed of dog named for the city of Peking. Identify the breed of dogs whose name comes from the Spanish word for Spanish. Estero and Chris.
A spaniel.
A spaniel. A spaniel. A spaniel. And that's good for 10 points for Estero. The 1651 Acts of Trade and Navigation ruled that some enumerated commodities, goods that were scarce in Britain, must be shipped from the colonies to England. Name any one of these products. Estero and Chris.
Tobacco.
Or cotton, or indigo, or sugar. Would have taken any of them. Good for 10 points for Estero. What is the highest Army rank below the level of general? Nick Estero.
Colonel.
Colonel's right. 10 more for Estero. Abraham Lincoln had 4 sons, but only one lived to adulthood. Born in 1843, his son went on to become a millionaire. What were his first 2 names? Robert Todd Lincoln. Robert Todd Lincoln. We're still in the 10-point round. Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and Cape Cod are all districts belonging to the Commonwealth of what state? Estero and Nick.
Massachusetts.
Some questions are easy on the A-team, some are more difficult. That would have been one of the simpler ones, and that's good for 10 points. 150 to 110 now. Estero in the lead. For 10 points, the architect Louis Sullivan is recognized as a significant contributor to the evolution of a certain type of modern building. Identify it. Estero and Lori.
A skyscraper?
Skyscraper is correct. 10 more for Estero. What phenomenon occurs when a hot spring erupts, hurling a column of water and steam high into the air? Estero and Chris.
A geyser.
A geyser is correct. 10 more for Estero High School. At most seaside places, the water reaches its highest level how often? Clewiston and Ellen.
Twice in a day?
Twice in a day is correct. 10 points for Clewiston. From which states were these states created? For 10 points each. First, West Virginia. Clewiston and Ellen.
Virginia.
That's right. 10 for Clewiston. Next, Maine. Estero and Nick. That's right. 10 for Estero. Lastly, Tennessee. Tim, Clewiston.
Kentucky.
That is incorrect. Sorry. For you only, Estero, for 10 points. Nick.
North Carolina.
That's right. 10 more points for Estero. We'll move on now after that theme question. We'll move on to taking a quick break. We're going to begin the 20-point round in a little bit. Going to meet our sponsors and all the people involved with the 18. Stick around. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the championship game, 18 challenge for the year 2000. Estero over Clewiston by 60 points. But we've got two shorter 20-point rounds, and this is where the action starts to pick up. So let's not waste any time. Hands on buzzers, and here we go. Which U.S. document is known as the supreme law of the land? Estero and Lori.
Constitution.
That's correct, the Constitution. That's good for 20 points for Estero. Name the state that is bordered by Missouri to the north and Louisiana to the south. Estero and Nick.
Arkansas.
Arkansas is correct. 20 more for Estero. Ernst, Francis, Fritz, and Jack belong to what fictional family? The Joad family? The Robinson family? Estero and Chris?
The Robinson family.
Swiss Family Robinson is good. 20 more for Estero. Was Bacon the first to formulate the rules of ethics, geometry, the evolutionary process, or inductive inferences? Estero and Lori.
Inductive inferences.
That would get you 20 more points. Estero High School off to a fast start in the 20-point rounds. This term applies to the natural sciences in reference to the practice of relying upon observation and experiments. What is it? Estero and Lori.
Empiricism.
Empiricism is correct. 20 more for Estero. What kind of artwork is created with a nozzle and compressed air? Estero and Chris.
Airbrush.
Airbrush is right. 20 more for Estero. They're on a roll. Of the following cities, select the ones that are state capitals. Columbus, Indianapolis, Chicago, Denver, Seattle, Boise, Cheyenne, Lincoln. Columbus, Indianapolis, Chicago, Denver, Seattle, Boise, Cheyenne, Lincoln. Clewiston and Ellen.
Columbus, Indianapolis, Denver, Lincoln, Boise, Cheyenne.
Correct. 20 points for Clewiston High School. Got them all right. For 20 again, from largest to smallest, identify the three largest Canadian provinces in population. From largest to smallest. Ontario, Quebec, British Columbia, the answers that we needed. For 20 points again, how many golf clubs is a player allowed to use for a match? Estero and Lori?
14.
14, and you play a little golf, don't you? Okay, 14. 20 for Estero there. What caused Britain to be evacuated at the beginning of William Golding's 1954 novel, Lord of the Flies? Estero and Lori again.
It was a war of some sort.
Judges? More specific information needed, Lori, according to the judges.
An atomic war.
That's correct. 20 points for Estero, a nuclear war. Here's 20 again up for grabs. Famous for his oratorical skills, this 19th century American lawyer and politician won the cases of Dartmouth College versus Woodward, Gibbons versus Ogden, McCullough versus Maryland. Name this co-founder of the Whig Party. Clewiston and Ellen.
Clay.
That is wrong. Sorry. We'll clear the clock, toss it over to Estero, give you a couple of seconds. Daniel Webster, the answer we needed. We're still shooting for 20 at a crack here. This institution in Santa Monica, California, is a think tank that conducts research in the fields of national security, public welfare, and international economics. What is the institution's name? That think tank is the RAND Corporation. Next, a food labeled Florentine is prepared with what? Estero and Chris?
Spinach.
Spinach is correct. You cook? Oh, all right. 20 points for Estero. Calvin Coolidge said, quote, "The business of America is what?" Lori, Estero.
Business.
That's right. The business of America is business. 20 more for Estero. In the late 1950s, Major League Baseball teams in New York had what many observers considered the top three center fielders in pro baseball. Name any two of the three along with their teams. Clewiston and Bill.
Ty Cobb and the Yankees and Willie Mays and the Yankees.
That is incorrect. For Estero only. Mickey Mantle, Duke Snider, Willie Mays of the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Giants, only one of which continue to play in the Big Apple. For 20 points, a memory play set in St. Louis starred Laurette Taylor as Amanda Wingfield. Name both the title and the author of the play. Tennessee Williams, The Glass Menagerie is the answer that we needed. We're still in the 20-point round here. In what year were these the announced presidential candidates of the two major parties? Hubert Humphrey, Richard Nixon, Nelson Rockefeller, Lyndon Johnson, Stuart Symington, Adlai Stevenson, and John F. Kennedy. Excuse me, Clewiston, Ellen.
1960?
1960 is correct. 1960. That's 20 for Clewiston. What Supreme Court justice resigned in 1916 and was reappointed in 1930 as Chief Justice? Clewiston and Ellen.
Taft?
That is wrong. Sorry. Estero, I'll repeat. What Supreme Court justice resigned in 1916, reappointed in 1930 as Chief Justice? Charles Evans Hughes was the man's name. In physics, what is the name for a rhythmic disturbance applied to sound, electromagnetics, and the ocean? Clewiston and Derek.
A wave?
A wave is right. 20 points for Clewiston. This title, that's the gong, ending the first 20-point round. 390 Estero, 190 Clewiston, but we have one more 20-point round and then our version of Final Jeopardy. Let's meet the sponsors of this program and some of the folks from the Foundation for Lee County Public Schools. We'll be right back. And welcome back. For the past 11 years, NBC2 has been a proud sponsor of the A-Team Challenge. Also very pleased to put it on our air. We couldn't do the show, though, without some other gracious sponsors and the good folks at the Foundation for Lee County Public Schools.
Hi, I'm Jim Nathan, president of Lee Memorial Health System. We're proud to be a major sponsor of the A-Team Challenge. As a supporter of academic achievement, we salute the 144 students.
And thank you, Darlene. Thank you once again to all of our gracious sponsors. All right, time for the final regulation round. A-Team Challenge 2000 championship game. Estero with a solid lead over Clewiston, but we got some questions here that could change things. So hands on buzzers, and here we go. This title, meaning more than gentleman, less than knight, is often tacked on to just anybody's name. That's the way the question reads. What is it? Clewiston and Ellen.
Sir?
That is incorrect. We'll throw it over to Estero. I'll repeat it. This title, meaning more than gentleman, less than knight, I'm going to go ahead and take some liberty here and say it is not often tacked on to just anybody's name. What is it? And then we're going to talk to the judges in a moment. Estero and Lori?
Lord?
That's incorrect, and I'm kind of glad that it is. The correct answer we needed was Esquire. I believe we might have had a typo in the question there. Let's move on in the 20-point round. A feud between the Shepherdsons and the Grangerfords forms part of the story in what novel by Mark Twain? Clewiston and Derek.
Huck Finn?
Huck Finn is right. Let's take 20 points, put it on the board for Clewiston. A professional who assumes the role of negotiator between buyer and seller and charges a fee for services is called what? Chris and Estero.
An arbitrator?
That is incorrect. I'll finish it for you, Clewiston. Here's a hint. The term usually applies to a licensed member of a stock exchange. This will be for Clewiston only. A professional who assumes the role of negotiator between buyer and seller and charges a fee for services, excuse me, is called what? Derek and Clewiston.
A broker?
A broker's right. 20 more for Clewiston. The delegates signed the U.S. Constitution in geographical order from north to south. Name the last two states represented by the delegates to sign the Constitution. Clewiston and Ellen.
South Carolina and Georgia?
That is correct for 20 points for Clewiston. What do we call a set of numbers listed in a particular order? Estero and Lori.
Series?
That is incorrect. I'm sorry. For Clewiston only. What do we call a set of numbers listed in a particular order? Clewiston and Ellen.
Range?
That is incorrect. We needed the word sequence. Sequence. All right, we're still in the 20-point round here. Excuse me. What kind of fluid is usually circulated in a solar heating system in cold climates? Antifreeze, oil, bromine, or water? Clewiston and Ellen.
Antifreeze?
Antifreeze is correct for 20 points for Clewiston. The stars of a movie can't always guarantee a hit. Often the deciding factor, excuse me, is the character actor who gives an excellent performance. Identify these 4 movies with the following supporting casts for 20 points each. First, Jack Haley, Frank Morgan, Burt Lahr, Margaret Hamilton. A little before your time, but I'm sure you've all seen The Wizard of Oz. Here's the next one. Al Pacino, James Caan, Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton. Estero and Nick.
The Godfather?
The Godfather's right. 21st Estero. Not going to get to it. That's the end of regulation here, A-Team Challenge Championship game. Before we get to final exam, we want to bring up our alternates. We've got Kristen Plouffe and Drew Whirls from Clewiston, and from Estero, Tom Lawler and Nikki Kelsey. Okay, here's the chance for you to risk up to 100 points in our final exam. We'll tell you as you write down your risks that the category is language arts. We've got the risk from Estero rather quickly. I don't think you need a math wizard to figure that out. And we've got the risk from Clewiston also. So let's put the final exam question on your screen at home and on our monitors here in the studio. For up to 100 points, list the 3 moods of a verb. We'll be right back. Well, there are the categories: language arts, science, social studies, and math. And there are the trophies. That's what the 24 Southwest Florida area high schools have been going for since we've been at it this year. In January, the A-Team Challenge for the year 2000. Estero and Clewiston today, 410 to 270 going in. We couldn't do this program we mentioned before without the sponsors and without the Foundation for Lee County Public Schools, but every week we've had judges that we've relied on. We don't mention them on a weekly basis, but we do want to recognize our judges from tonight. Dave Downing from Edison Community College, Winston Bishop from Tice Elementary, Nancy Wiseman, retired from the Lee County School District, and my friend John Armstrong from Canterbury School. I'll also remind you briefly, we have an award-winning website. It's NBC-2.com. You can get all the local, national, international news that you want. Lifestyle features on there also a link to the A-Team Challenge. So if you're new to the program, we invite you to check us out on the World Wide Web and find out what the program's been about all year. Well, Clewiston and Estero basically have been what it's about. They made it to the finals, and now it's time to read the final exam question. The category was language arts, and here's the question. It was list the 3 moods of a verb. Now, Clewiston came in with 270 points going into our final exam, and their answer was indicative, subjunctive, and conditional, and that is incorrect. Clewiston wisely risked as many as they could to try to get close, and that was 100 points, taking them down to 170. The answer Estero gave to the question was also incorrect. Subjunctive, nominative, and indicative, although none of them appear to be terribly upset about it. The correct answer, by the way, indicative, which is fact, subjunctive, which is doubt or condition, and imperative, command. Estero, no math majors needed to figure out how much they should risk. They risked 0. Making the final score for the A-Team Challenge 2000, 410 for Estero, 170 for Clewiston. So a round of applause from our studio audience from players from Estero High School. You can feel free to clap for yourself. And let's say congratulations to the players also from Clewiston High School. If we can, let's bring in the coaches from both teams. We have Johanna Huss. Johanna, come this way. Jill Alden, Sandy Sanders. Come around any way you like. We'll give you the big trophies. We'll start with Johanna. Congratulations for a great year for Clewiston. This was the first year you were ever in the finals, so congratulations to you and all of your players. Pardon my back, everybody. And the big trophy over here, Jill and Sandy, congratulations to you. Now, this is the traveling trophy. This one stays with us here at NBC2, but a great job by all of our schools involved in the A-Team Challenge. We'll be back next year for our 12th year here on NBC2. I'm news anchor Craig Wolf. See you next year. Now it's time for everybody to get their trophies.